Right, so this is August 4th, Trudy's birthday, 1997, in Lahaina, Maui. And you want to start, Trudy, and tell us a little bit about what you know about your birth, and since it's the anniversary of that?
I know about my birth. Well, but not very much, obviously.
Other than
the tales I heard, yeah, I just heard that I was born at home on Henry Street in Norman, and old C. John was there, the family doctor, and I was born, well, I was breech, bottom first, and that's about all I know.
Wow, well that's neat. You were born at home, huh?
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh, so do you think your mom did she give birth naturally? No? They were able to give her medication at home.
Oh yeah, Dr. Sadie did.
Uh-huh.
Oh, in fact, she said he even told her that he actually turned the baby around before he delivered it.
Uh-huh.
He was an expert. He delivered David too.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were born at home, and were you the first?
No, I have a brother. We have a brother that's 10 years older than us.
10 years older. Tell me about your brother.
My brother Bobby?
Yeah.
Well, the biggest thing I remember about him is so they tell me, he used to chant this poem, Little Trudy, how I hate her. She'll eat first and I'll eat later. Yeah, and well, by the time we were big enough to play with brothers, I guess he was gone. He left. I think he was in the army for a while.
a short while.
Short while, and then he moved to the South and married a gal down there.
From North Carolina.
From North Carolina, yeah. So I had actually more contact with him in later years than I ever did when I was a child. The only other thing that I remember is that he loved projectors. You know, that's what he wanted to do, was show movies. He had one at home, I remember that. And he couldn't work in Connecticut because of the unions. They had what they call a closed shop. So he had to, work in non-union theaters.
So he actually did it for work.
Oh yeah, he still
That
does.
was his profession.
That's the only thing that he enjoys in life is he built a little theater onto his trailer, and I don't know, he got some kind of a lens so he could project a 8mm, 16mm projector onto a wall, maybe from here to the kitchen, which is quite a project to get the distance there, but he does it, yeah.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah, Carl got all these movies from the library in Santa Clara. We were going to throw them away, and he said, "Oh, you can't do that. They were all travel films and really old movies and things." And so they told Carl they'd give them to him for $5. That he had to pay something, and so he had been using them in convalescent hospitals, but they didn't want to pay the projectionist anymore. So he told me about it. And so I took I got Kathy and Carl to bring all the films over, and they were terribly heavy, and Rick and I packed them all up. But the boxes weighed like 100 pounds and sent them to him.
Wow.
Yeah, I think we sent 3 batches of them.
He must have been really delighted, huh?
Oh, he loved them, yes. His wife really loved them.
Oh, that's great. So it sounds like you were closer with him in later life than you got to spend time with him as a kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So then you remember when your sister was born?
No.
No? Was she born at home too, or in the house?
There's a brother in between, John.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a brother in
John.
between.
Yeah.
Oh.
How
How old were you when your brother was born?
Well, John was 14 months older than me, and you're not quite 3 years older, so probably she was only like 14 months.
Yeah, I wasn't old enough to. All I remember is the tales. I remember they said that Bobby, name John?
Oh, that I don't remember. Yeah.
John Robertson, yeah. And then the other thing that I remember about you was they said that my mother said that my father wanted to name you Nevada Jane, and she wouldn't let him.
Yeah.
I said, oh, geez, that's what you should have named me.
Supposedly, I was like 6 weeks overdue. She just didn't go into labor, and I was also born at home, but by then they had built a house on the Niantic River, which is really reminiscent of this setting. This town Lahaina is actually designed after an England whaling town, and we were raised in a setting very similar to this, what you're talking about, the Atlantic, not the Pacific, and we were on a river, but it's very, very, a lot of deja vu here for both of us. I think that's why we like it so much.
Huh.
I was actually born in this house on the Niantic River at home by the same doctor that lived with me, and similar problems to her. In fact, he told our mother after I was born that she was never to have any more children. She wouldn't live through childbirth again. She had such, such really bad birth. But I was 6 weeks late, and she had told me that the thing that finally put her into labor was an electrical storm, and she got a bad shock. I was born in May, and she got a bad shock, and she finally went into labor, and she said my fingernails were run over the end of my fingers. And
wow.
Exactly. She never did say how much I weighed, but I don't think birth weight was ever a big problem.
I don't think we ever knew how much it was.
In fact, maybe they didn't even do it when you were born at home.
You're at home, yeah. They may not have had a scale, exactly.
Yeah, we didn't have a scale.
But she was sick for a long time after I was born. She hemorrhaged after I was born, and she had the equivalent of a nanny in those days. There was a girl named Dottie Tracy that came every day and helped her with the three of us, and etc.
Wow, that was lucky for her.
I think she had a nurse after I was born there. I'm trying to remember. She did tell me the woman's name, but I can't remember it now.
So you guys remember Dottie?
Me? Vaguely. I remember afterwards, I remember where Dottie lived. She lived on Mango Point. She used to take us to the beach every day. I vaguely remember her, and it's funny when you're little, your memories, I'm not sure if I was told or really remember that she had red hair and freckles. But she came every afternoon and took us to the beach. I loved the beach. From a kid, I could swim before I could walk, so I was told.
Wow.
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah, we had a lot of good times. The river was our playground. We fished and we clammed and we boated and we scalloped. We spent a lot of time on that river.
Tell me a little bit about the brother in between you. What was his name?
John.
Is his name? John?
Yeah.
And what was your relationship with him like? I know the two of you got along very well and were really close. What was...
When we were real young, John and I were buddies. We did everything together. And then there was a period when he got a driver's license, and where he didn't spend much time with us. He was never home. John hated school. I was the one that had to wake him up, and to wake John up in the morning, you got the broom and you poke gently because he used to wake us. And John ended up dropping out of school as soon as he legally could. He was 16.
He didn't like school, huh?
No, he didn't like anything that would smack of authority. Let's put it that way for a better.